All right, everybody, thanks for joining. On my channel, I show off a lot of how-to ironing videos. So I thought it would be a good chance to, demonstrate live in person a couple ways to iron a shirt, for example. So tonight we're going to show how to iron a shirt. Feel free to, put in a comment if you want to ask a specific question. You can definitely do that, and I may just have to be back and forth to look at the camera and go from there, but let's get started. So I thought this would be a good way. Again, we can ask questions. You can directly comment and I'll answer, but say if you were going to iron a piece of clothing, let's get a first-hand demonstration. What are you going to need and how would you do that in the first place? So I just have a couple items here on the table that you are going to need. So one is an iron. I've already plugged it in. It's heating up. Two, this is optional, depending on if you have one or not, is an ironing board. This one's a little bit smaller, sort of a tabletop version, but I know they got some bigger ironing boards that you can find. And then three is the piece of clothing that you want to iron. An optional piece here is you can also get some distilled water. If you have an iron that has a water chamber that allows for steam function, you can get some distilled water, fill it up in the iron, and you can use it as a steam iron. And I already have water in here. I filled it up in the back. So when we start ironing, you might see some steam escape from the ironing board or the table or the piece of clothing. You can sort of see some steam escape. So that means that the iron is on and it's obviously hot enough to enable the steam function. So anyways, the first step would be to plug in the iron. Normally you would have to wait probably about a couple minutes just for the iron to heat up. I hate this angle, it's not the best angle. Secondly, once that iron's going, depending on the piece of clothing that you have, the next thing would be to check the tags. Can this piece of clothing actually be ironed? So to do that, say if you have your piece of clothing, so this, I'm going to iron this t-shirt, and if you actually go inside the t-shirt, you'll have a tag on here. If you open up the tag, there's different symbols on this tag, and you're looking for a specific symbol. If you see an ironing symbol, guess what? That piece of clothing can be ironed. If that ironing symbol, for example, had an X through it, then the shirt can be ironed. So the first step, always make sure you check your tags to make sure that the piece of clothing can actually be ironed. And depending on the type of clothing that you have and want an iron, sometimes they'll be made up of a different material or fabric, and depending on that material or fabric, it might only want a specific temperature setting. So you might read the tag and it might say low iron only. So you get that with some materials and fabrics. So if that's the case, then you would just grab your iron, and most irons have some sort of feature on them. This one has a dial right here. So I have it up to 6 at the moment, just to enable that steam function. But say if you had a low iron piece of clothing, then you could just turn it all the way down into a lower number, and then again let that heat up. But then you can go forward and iron that piece of clothing on that low iron setting. Again, because it doesn't say what temperature, I'm going to turn it back up to 6, because I also have the distilled water in here, which will enable the steam function. On my iron here, it sort of has a cloud picture for the top numbers, and that indicates the steam. So the higher the number on the iron, the higher and the hotter it'll get, and again it'll enable that steam function to actually happen. All right. So like I said, The iron at this point is probably heated up enough. You can see your ironing board here. Most of them will have a point at one end, and we can use this point because we can actually take the shirt and guide it through, or sorry, guide the shirt over top of this point, and where the neck hole is, this neck area, we can actually feed it through, and you know, this point will act as your neck, so it'll just be standing like that. So let me just throw it on just to show you. Obviously I'm not going to iron like this, but I would take my shirt, sort of drape it over top like this, and then like I said, with this point here at the top, it acts as your neck, and it just allows that shirt to go over top. So it's like that. Another tip here is, depending on what is on your shirt, this might actually change the way that you iron. So on my shirt right here, if we turn it up, we have this sort of fin symbol right here. Now I know that this area cannot be ironed, and you might think, how would I know if, you know, my shirt couldn't be ironed? Well, there's two things that you could do. You could sort of run your hand over top and your fingers. Is there any material? Can you feel a different texture there? If you do, then that's a good indicator that that area can't be ironed. Another way you could do this is, say if you have a shirt, just give me a second. If you have a shirt like this, and it has you know, a couple spots here with some logos, sort of hold it up into the light. I know it's hard to see here, but if you get a little bit of a shine, there's most of the time that's going to be a vinyl, and you can tell right away, because like I said, if you run your hand on there, you can tell that that's a different texture. And if you were to iron over this, it would just melt or it would, you know, definitely wreck the shirt. So you can sort of see that. So if you hold it up in the light, I can see that there's some light reflecting off that vinyl, so I know not to iron that area. And I'll show you how to iron an area like this after I iron this shirt. So again, like I said, I'm not ironing like this, but when you iron, you want to sort of iron on sides. So this ironing board isn't that big. So I'm going to iron the one side first, and then I might have to shift the fabric and the clothes over a bit just to get the remaining other half of that side. Once that's done, I can flip it around and do the back side. So again, I'm just going to position my shirt so I can do the one side at the moment. Get right to the side, and then you want to sort of spread it out on the table. Make sure that it's nice and smooth. You don't want any of that fabric sticking up when you go to iron, because that'll just allow more wrinkles to get in, because if you go over that, it'll just sort of create some bumps. So make sure that the shirt is nicely spread out across the board, and then once it is, then we can actually start that ironing process. So I'm going to take my iron here, and you want to go slow with this. It's not a race, but you can start wherever you want on the shirt. So you're just going to place it here, and we're just going to make some slow passes all the way down. You can sort of go like side by side like this, or if I turn it, I might just go right down, back up, down. And like I said, if you see the steam escape just like that and water spill on the table, that means that the steam function is actually working. So I'm just going to go back and forth. You don't want to leave the iron on an area like this, because it might actually burn that fabric. So you want to always keep it moving. Again, you can go nice and slow. I mean, if you choose to go fast, you'll just have to go over it a couple more times, but you'll start to notice when the wrinkles go away, because you can, you know, if you have your shirt up in a ball and you start and you notice all those wrinkles, as soon as you start ironing, you're going to see them go away. So again, you can sort of judge when you're done, when all those wrinkles are done. So I'll just do a couple more passes here, and then I'll finish. And again, like I said, the steam function here, it just allows it, it's almost like doing like a double duty. You get the heat from that iron, but you also get that steam, and that steam also helps to get into the shirt, we can say, those fabrics, and it just helps the wrinkles go away. It's like a, you know, like I said, 2 for 1. Anyways, so I flip that over. It's hard to see. Move it a little closer, but look, there's no wrinkles on that area. So what I would do now is I'm just going to pretty much lift up my shirt and just move that material over so I can get that other side. And there we go. So I'm going to do this area now. And like I said, because I have this sort of area up here that is, you know, that can't be ironed, what I'll do is I'll just roughly go around the spot just to cover that area. I'll try to get as close as I can without going over it. And then, like I said, after this, I'll put on that other shirt and I'll give you a different tip on how to do a shirt like that one. So there we go. I moved it over. I'm going to now finish ironing on this side, and then I'm done on the front. So like I said, nice slow passes. You don't have to go fast. Let the iron do the work and the heat. And again, because I have that little area up here, this little emblem, I'm just going to get as close as I can to it without actually going over that spot. Because again, like I said, if I go over it, it could actually damage the shirt. So I'm just going to finish up nice and slow. And there we go. So I just completed my front of the shirt. You know, I take it off. That's pretty good. You saw what it looked like beforehand. And then, like I said, I would just do the opposite side. Same way I would do the front side. I just flip it around and then do the back. Most of the time, I'll leave the sleeves. Just because when you wear a shirt, say if you have some wrinkles on it, let's move this back a bit. Say if you have some wrinkles on it, the shirt is going to form to your body, let's say, and your body's going to produce some heat. So sometimes if you just wear a shirt, you'll notice if you have some wrinkles on it during the day, you look in the mirror at nighttime or later on, those wrinkles are gone. And that's just how it happens sometimes. You just fit it to your body and your body sort of helps get those wrinkles away. Most of the time I'll leave the sleeves because, like I said, that's going to happen anyways. Unless if it's really bad, then I'll take care of it, but for the most part I don't. Say for some reason I do, if I wanted to iron the sleeve, we can sort of use this point here for the same reason. So my sleeve can stretch pretty good for the most part. I don't want to overstretch this though. So I know just from using this iron, I know what it can do. So I would take my sleeve and I would sort of feed that through that little point right there. Like I said, I'm not going to get the full weight, you know, I'm not going to get the full sleeve on there. But now I can iron this area. I can iron right here. And those wrinkles are now gone. And like I said, now you've touched on all aspects of the shirt, so you should be good to go about your day. So like I said, I had that emblem there. I just went around it. Now I'm going to show you a tip on, you know, if the area is too big to go around it, or you don't want to risk it, how would you go about ironing something like this? Or say if it had a big pattern on the back. So same setup here. So I have my emblem here. Just dump that right in the water. So I have my emblem here. I want to now iron this shirt. It's wrinkled. But like I said, I can't go over that vinyl because it's going to melt. So what I can do is I can turn the shirt inside out. If I flip it inside out, that vinyl is not on the back side. It's not on the inside, sorry. So that spot right there that we saw, that little logo, you can see it through the shirt, but this side, there's no vinyl on it. So I can now iron this side, and it's just going to reflect whatever I did, you know, on the opposite side. When I iron, it's going to go through the fabric, so it's going to cover the front side anyways. Same with the back. We saw that big pattern on the back, all that vinyl. I can go over this now because it's not in the inside. I'm not going directly on the vinyl. So again, we'll just do the front with that little emblem there. I would load or just feed the shirt through the iron point like we did. Again, emblems right here. You can now take your iron and go directly over that vinyl spot. Don't leave a lot of heat on there just in case, but go fast. You don't need to spend a whole bunch of time on that area. Couple seconds and you should be good, and then you can finish with the rest of the shirt, because that's, you know, there's no vinyl there, there's nothing there that would possibly cause it to, you know, melt or burn. So after that, like I said, I just ironed that vinyl spot. I didn't iron the shirt completely, but if I flip it over, we can see that nothing happened to that vinyl spot. I ironed from the inside out and nothing changed. It's not melted or anything. So that's a tip that you can use. So say if you have those spots, or if you're going, you know, if you have a shirt that has sort of embroidered spots and it's sort of, you know, sticking out a bit, just flip it over. Flip it inside out and iron from the inside, because like I said, the iron's going to do enough damage, or not damage, but it's going to be effective enough to get through the fabric, and it's just going to, you know, it'll get the wrinkles out regardless. So that's another option there. I sort of talked for a while. I know a lot of people didn't really join, which is fine, because they can still watch it on my channel anyways after. But like I said, I thought this could be a good live video, because I have a lot of ironing videos on my page regardless, and they all do well. So why not sort of go live and, you know, show off how to iron in person? And then if there was anybody who wanted to comment or ask questions, then they could, and I could answer them in the chat or directly like this. But I think I might do something similar like this, you know, another time, maybe ironing pants, or, you know, a different type of shirt, or, you know, material, piece of clothing, regardless. Because like I said, I think it's just useful skill, especially if, you know, you have to go somewhere, or you have a job interview, let's say. You don't want to be going to work or wherever with all those wrinkles. So if you have an iron, you watch this video or you watch another video, I'm glad to help out regardless, and so you look your best for that, you know, wherever you're going, or, you know, every day. So but yeah, so a couple little tips there, how to iron a shirt, and how to iron a shirt with some, you know, different patterns and some vinyl, some raised areas, embroidered areas that you can you know, deal with when you actually go to iron. Like I said, you just flip it inside out, and the steam and the heat from the iron is just going to get the wrinkles out of both sides regardless, so it doesn't matter. But anyways, like I said, I'll finish up here. If you just joined, I know a couple people just joined, feel free to go back if you really wanted to. That was just a live on how to iron a couple pieces of clothing in like I said, first person, sort of, you know, directly like this, no editing. So, but yeah, if you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like, and we'll see you next time. Hopefully do this again. So have a nice evening or day.